We have a Black Panther 3 confirmation from director Ryan Coogler. Star Trek is ready to boldly go into a new movie. The Running Man comes in second at theaters, and it's trailers galore this week as we discuss the big ones that dropped. All that and more right after this. Welcome to Multiverse News, your source for information about all your favorite fictional universes. My name is Matthew Carroll, and with me on the panel today we have Haley Hobbs. What's happening, Haley?
Oh, there's a lot happening. So many trailers. It's just wild out there, you guys.
A lot of trailers in the ether. Jay Sisson, what's happening, bud?
Hey, I like a good trailer week. You know, just take a trip around the trailer park.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm doing good.
Indeed.
Glad to be here.
Good, glad to have you. And J. Scotty St. Clair.
Yeah, I guess you could call me a trailer park boy. Not that kind.
What's the other guy?
Two J. Scotty St. Clairs go round the outside, round
Okay.
the outside, outside. Boom, boom, bam.
There it is.
Well, we always like to start off the show with a 5-star review, and this week it's from Becca True. They say, love this podcast. Definitely my favorite Stranded Panda podcast. I'm always laughing and love hearing about the geeky news. Still waiting on Scotty's Netflix login info, but still love y'all.
And you shall wait forever.
Yeah, you might have to wait a while for that one.
Oh yeah, he doesn't have it anymore.
Yeah, with the whole Frankenstein release, it was tempting, but I will be seeing the folks for the holidays, so I'm gonna, get my viewings in then. So Netflix, you didn't get me. Keep trying.
You could probably lift their login, right? Take it back.
Oh yeah, they'd give it to me if I wanted it, but
Maybe
I told them I'd hold off and we can watch it together. So yeah,
you might get whacked with password sharing though. It's not as easy as it used to be.
Whacked because of password sharing.
Not, I could have chose a better word. They won't kill you.
Won't they?
Well, maybe.
They're gonna make an example of someone of some of us.
I will be the Running Man, and it'll all be because of Netflix.
All right, well, let's get into the stories for this week. Sinners mastermind Ryan Coogler confirmed that Black Panther 3 is the next film he's working on during Contenders Film Los Angeles last week, an event put on by Deadline. This is exciting news for us MCU fans, as work on the third Black Panther film has been mostly quiet other than Denzel Washington's confirmed slip-up that he is in the movie. With almost no other details available, what's our speculation about when we'll see Black Panther 3 and what its storyline will consist of?
Yeah, I think this isn't that much of a surprise. I think we sort of assumed that this was Ryan Coogler's next movie, was doing Black Panther 3, but it does make me wonder a little bit about where it's going to be set. We know that there's going to be Wakandan connections in Avengers Doomsday. We know that Shuri, for example, is in that movie. But then we don't really know what that means. Like, we don't know how much involvement we're talking about here. We know, obviously, Wakanda was a huge centerpiece of Infinity War and Endgame. And then you've kind of have the spin-off with the Ironheart series, but that didn't really have a whole lot of Wakanda connections. So, we haven't really been there a whole lot since Wakanda Forever. We don't really know what's going on there a whole lot. And then you've got the fact that Namor is going to be present in Avengers Doomsday as well. So yeah, we've heard rumors about Black Panther recastings and different universe T'Challas and all this type of stuff. So you got to wonder how all that's going to factor in, if at all, with Ryan Coogler. What kind of conversations are going on there? I don't really see a way for this movie to come out before Avengers Secret Wars, though, especially because it hasn't started production. We know that there's some casting going on, like Denzel and stuff like that, but it hasn't started production. There's no real update on when it could start filming. I would imagine this is probably a post-Secret Wars project to some extent, but I don't know exactly when that would be. So if Secret Wars is coming, 2027 at the present moment, like late 2027 at this moment, then you would expect that, assuming it wouldn't get delayed, Black Panther 3 is probably a 2028 project. So we're still looking pretty far out here with this thing.
I think you're probably right, but my glimmer of hope is that Secret Wars doesn't start filming until next summer, they say 2026. So Ryan Coogler knows it's his next film he's working on. We already know they cast Denzel a long time ago. I'm assuming that script's been in the works for a long time. So we could get word any day that they're like, oh yeah, this thing's in production, anytime in the next 4 months. And it would be possible, especially it's going to be less of a effects heavy thing, even though it will be effects heavy, I'm sure, but it won't be as big as Secret Wars, So I think I feel like Secret Wars is going to be, maybe I'm wrong, but it just feels like that the worlds I remember from comic books, Secret Wars just feel very like they're going to be a lot of CGI happening, but I don't know. But I kind of hope not, because it reminds me too much of Quantumania, like the unrealness of the world. But yeah, I don't know. I hope they can squeeze this in, because I want to see how the characters, before they enter the big story. I feel like Secret Wars is going to change everyone so much, and so much of the world is going to change, that I kind of wish some of these characters got their swan song, or like, not necessarily a swan song, but like a closure of their story pre-Secret Wars. And like Doctor Strange is a solo character, so wherever he moves, whatever multiverse he moves into, it doesn't matter as much. So that being after doesn't bother me as much. But like, all these Wakanda characters have like their own interconnectivity and their own relationships. And like, if we find out some of them don't survive the whatever Secret Wars ends up being, that would be weird to have those characters try to like reestablish something afterwards,
I think that one of the things with Black Panther is, and we've talked about this with other properties that cast children, and we know there's a future T'Challa that is his child. And so they could do the time jump really easily here, even from Black Panther 2, Wakanda Forever to now, and have a teenager and have, Shuri mentoring him. The cool thing about all of the Wakanda stuff is that there's so many characters and there's so many different avenues you can explore, and having like an aunt and nephew team up kind of thing would be very fun. But I don't know he's still kind of young. They're not probably doing Young Avengers. I just can't see it at this point. Everybody's in their mid to late 20s. Like it's getting a little less young and more like early 30s Avengers. And so I don't know if they would put him in that group that Ms. Marvel is recruiting, but I'd be very excited to see that character come back, and how are they going to adjust us to this new Black Panther along with Shuri, because I don't think you replace Shuri, or she steps back because she's the science and that's her thing and that's what she loves. So I'm excited for it.
Yeah, I agree with a lot of what's been brought up. I think it would probably be unrealistic to expect to get this film before Secret Wars. But that being said, I do think it'll probably be the first film we get post Secret Wars. And it just feels the most substantial, like even though this is the closest thing to legitimate confirmation outside of Denzel Washington's little leaks there. I also think about the X-Men film that we've talked a lot about, and people, I think they lump that one in with Black Panther 3 and Doctor Strange 3 as being the most likely to be the next film after Secret Wars here. But yeah, again, I think this one kind of makes the most sense at this point in time, and the fact that Ryan Coogler is doing this in such an official capacity, and kind of, it feels like he's laying claim to it a little bit. And I was thinking back, like, I like Wakanda Forever a lot. I think it does a lot of things right, particularly being a huge send up for Chadwick Boseman, and being kind of a posthumous celebration for him. But it is a film that I do have some issues with, and I think it feels a little bloated, and it sets a lot of things up. And I do think it kind of got away from Ryan Coogler a little bit, and I think he probably feels that way too. So Jay, I was glad what you brought up about like going back to the Infinity Saga and thinking about Infinity War, specifically how integral Wakanda was for that, because they didn't have a lot of time to set that up. It was kind of between 2016 Civil War and then Black Panther. That did all the setup for Wakanda to introduce it and have it be so integral to those Avengers films there. And I was thinking about, it's not singular to Wakanda and the ongoings there. It speaks to the multiverse saga as a whole. But I was thinking about, like, let's look at this lineup for Secret Wars, and the fact that they are banking so heavily on not just Namor, but like even his acolytes. Like, I think his two right-hand people are kind of like confirmed cast members as well. So I was like, for whatever reason, and it makes all the sense in the world, because that film did perform very well financially. Black Panther is one of those characters that just, it's captured the attention of a lot of people as like a cultural movement. But I do think, like, looking at all the characters out there and with the reception waning with some, the world of Wakanda and Black Panther is one of the ones that has remained the most consistent. It is one of the most bankable. That feels a little, shallow to say, but the facts are the facts. This is still a business at the end of the day. So all that being said, what kind of has captured my attention is a lot of this unconfirmed speculation and rumors that are coming out, though. But Haley, to your point, will this be, will we see a new Black Panther come into the fold, whether he's multiversal, whether he's an aged up Toussaint? I know Damson Idris has been a very, very popular fan cast, and he's kind of been playing coy with the press and whatnot, but it's almost getting to that point where I feel like it's getting to like John Krasinski levels, where if they cast him at this point, it will feel almost too fan servicey. But one of the other ideas that I've seen put out there that I actually really like is, what if it's a period piece? What if we go back and tell the history of Wakanda? And Eyes of Wakanda played around with that a little bit, but if they do want to cast a new Black Panther and not, effectively recant what Kevin Feige said around the time of Chadwick Boseman's passing, whether it was the right thing to say or not, he said, we're not going to recast T'Challa. So if they want to hold true to that and go back and explore another Black Panther, whether it's his father, grandfather, or Bashinga, who the mount is named after, I think all of those are great avenues. But again, I'm going to kind of come back to my take is that I really get a sense of like ownership coming from Ryan Coogler, because he's a filmmaker, like coming off of Sinners, he can do whatever he wants.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact that he feels such allegiance and ownership to the character of Black Panther in the world of Wakanda, I think is super encouraging, and it just increases my excitement that much.
We talked about some release dates from Marvel changing a couple months ago, like where they took Blade off the calendar, for example, and they replaced a July untitled Marvel movie with the Simpsons movie sequel. Yeah. Right now, besides the obvious ones like Secret Wars and Doomsday, the only ones on the calendar, they're all untitled. It's February 18th, 2028, May 5th, 2028, and November 10th, 2028. Obviously, all of those could change. But right now, that's kind of what we're looking at. A lot of the other movies in next year's slate have kind of been replaced by other things. There's been a little bit of pushing back, and I think originally maybe those spots were slotted for maybe your Shang-Chi 2s, your Doctor Strange 3s, your Black Panther 3s, like some of that type of stuff maybe at the beginning, maybe a couple years ago. But as Doomsday's had to be delayed, Secret Wars has had to be delayed, you've kind of had this pushback of a lot of these projects. I think you're seeing a lot of those, end of trilogy type movies sort of get pushed back to the post Secret Wars era. So there's a lot of questions there to answer. I mean, we've heard not just reboot talk, but we've heard like, this is going to kind of soft reset the Marvel universe, and there might be some characters get replaced and some brought back and some taken away. And then you've got your guys that have been there. You've got your Wakandas, you've got your Doctor Stranges, you've got these big pillars of the Marvel universe that exist too, that can't be there forever. So you got to figure out what you're going to do with those. So there's a lot of questions there you got to juggle in two movies with Doomsday and Secret Wars. Like, what do we do post all of this? Like, how does this continue? Who's left? Like, did we bring in multiversal people? Did we recast people? Do we have a new Captain America or what? Like things like that. Like there's a lot of questions there that remain to be seen. I think this is a big one. Is what are we doing with Black Panther and Wakanda?
Correct me if I'm wrong there, Haley. Especially in the comics in Secret Wars, I know you've been reading that. It's after the Secret Wars, it sort of collapses all these different universes into a single universe, sort of thing. Isn't that kind of how it goes?
The crux of Secret Wars is that two worlds collide in the first issue.
Okay.
And
is this the original Secret Wars?
No, this is the 2015.
Oh, okay, cool.
The 1980s one is very different because it has the Beyonder in it, and I don't know enough about that one. But the 2015 Secret Wars, which is probably the one they're going to pull a little more from, two worlds collide and it creates Battle World. And if you want to hear all about Battle World, check out Source Pages, where Brian and I read the most bizarre comics this week about Battle World. It had nothing to do with anything. But it's just, then it's like a patchwork world, and everyone's under doom, but some people start to kind of break through the veil, but very, very slightly. Gotcha. They all think they have always been there.
I'm sitting here. Like one of the things that's been speculated a lot about is these other Wakandan characters, possibly a multiversal T'Challa, something like that, like a variant coming through.
Like there's so many Buckys in Secret Wars. Like we've lost track of how many Buckys there have been and how many have died, which I hope doesn't happen in Secret Wars.
So my idea that just dawned on me, I was saying how much I really would rather do this before, but now I'm kind of, one thing we talked about in the MCU cast recently was the idea that like the choice made in the first Black Panther movie to open Wakanda up to the world has serious repercussions in the second one. Like they end up having to fight an Infinity War because they open the world up. They end up having being attacked by Namor and losing the Queen, all because they opened up to the world. And like I actually think it'd be really interesting if when the worlds sort of remerge and you have different characters from different universes, they have to like decide whether that, like maybe they come to a world where it's still closed off and they have to decide whether they want to do that, even knowing the possible threats they would face. But it's like, is it still the right thing to do? Is the right thing to do worth doing, even if you've seen the terrors it can cause, you know?
A reversion, like we did this and it backfired so terribly that we're gonna overcorrect the other way.
Right. Yeah, that could be. Yeah, absolutely.
Before we move on, I did want to come back to that release date that you mentioned there, Jay, the February 2028 release date, because I had completely forgotten about that one. I don't know if it's still on the calendar, but if it holds true, that would be roughly almost like, I'm saying roughly and almost 10 years to the date in the same sentence. That doesn't make a lot of sense, but it would be almost 10 years to the date that we had the original Black Panther come out. So I think that would, be very timely and appropriate and make a lot of sense.
As long as it's not a day and date release.
That's right. Get him out of here.
All right, well, let's move on to our next story. A new Star Trek movie is being created under the writing and direction of John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein, the duo behind Dungeons & Dragons, Honor Among Thieves, and Game Night, as well as recently wrapped Apple film Mayday, starring Ryan Reynolds and Kenneth Branagh. With the last feature film being Star Trek Beyond in 2016, there's been little movement on both the Chris Pine-led series and new takes on the universe, but this film will move forward unconnected to anything done previously. Damn it, Jim. We're podcasters, not engineers. So, are we excited? And I'll take this. I don't normally take a feature, but I will, because it's Star Trek, and
Fittingly, I did wear my red shirt, Matt, so feel free to take me out at any chance.
Listen,
it's my time.
I know you've had a hard day. It's not worth it. It's not worth it, Haley.
How fitting. That just came to me.
I've seen Game Night. I have not seen Dungeons and Dragons. I am in a weird place with Star Trek. We've talked a lot about it with the sale to the Ellison family, basically, of all of Paramount, and I'm worried about the direction it's going to go, and this doesn't sound great to me. Who knows? To me, I love Star Trek when it tackles real life issues, and like I don't mind a jokey Star Trek. Some of my favorites are very funny and have silly moments, but I like there to be like a really strong emotional core and a really strong like philosophical core, and I haven't seen that from these guys in the things I've seen from them. So this seems like more of like to go like a comedy direction, like, and I'm just worried that with the new studio heads at Paramount, it's going to just be like, let's take the Star Trek iconography and slap jokes on it, or just slap, whatever kind of movie we want to, and it just lose what makes Star Trek Star Trek. Could be wrong. Maybe these guys are huge Star Trek fans and they want to do something very interesting, but it doesn't sound great to me. And the big thing that's going all over the, Star Trek Reddits and such right now is this unconnected, that they said it's unconnected from any other Star Trek, which like could mean a few things. It could mean that they're just like not like including characters from other Star Trek. It could still be in the world, just not connected directly to one of the series or one of the movies, like continuing characters. But it also could mean they're just rebooting Star Trek, which would be one of the largest continuous universes there is, just going away. And that would be not going away. Obviously, it will still exist. But like the company that owns it saying like, yeah, we're going to trash all that old canon. We're just doing something brand new. And they did that in 2009, but they did it in such a way where they respected the timeline. They actually showed that they brought characters over from the old timeline, and they did comic books to make sure everybody knew that all still exists. We're just doing a little.
Needed the comic books. I think it was all within the film itself.
That's true. They do like give a quick wrap up of this is just an alternate timeline, and you get Spock who crosses over from that alternate timeline and visits the Kelvin verse, as we call it. So I'm just nervous. I don't think there's many positive. I like that there's a Star Trek movie. I'm never gonna not be excited that a Star Trek movie is happening, and they've been talking about it for a long time and not moving on it. So I'm excited for that, but I am nervous on all these so far. The creative and business decisions that have been made around Star Trek are making me nervous.
I think it's a valid concern. This article was written as neutrally as journalism can be these days, which doesn't happen the way it used to anymore. But even, I think, by dropping David Ellison's name in the article, it presents that factor of nervousness that people have, that this is something that's going to be an effect on this universe that is beloved by a lot of people for certain reasons. And how is that going to shake out? No one knows. There's just, all you can do is speculate right now. I have watched Dungeons and Dragons on Netflix one day when I had apparently nothing else to do, and I could have gotten those hours of my life back and been really happy about it. It's not my kind of tone of a movie, and I haven't seen Game Night, but if it's similar in, goofy, whatever, then that's, I don't know. I don't, it just doesn't spell it out for me for Star Trek. Not yet. We'll see what they do, though.
I forgot who John Francis Daley is.
Don't do it. I was going to do it.
Okay, go for it.
Yeah, I was going to say I never miss an opportunity to remind people that John Francis Daley was the star of Freaks and Geeks. He was the geek in the titular Freaks and Geeks there. So, a lot of great, some great and some not so great talent have come from that show.
That's true.
With Seth Rogen. We got Seth Rogen.
Mm-hmm. Very talented.
Yeah.
Jason Segel.
I wouldn't fault anyone for the concern that's been expressed with this news. Now, I have seen both Game Night and Dungeons & Dragons Honor Among Thieves, and I was a bigger fan than some other people on this panel, but, I'm not the biggest Dungeons & Dragons head either. So as a filthy casual when it comes to Dungeons & Dragons, I thought they did a good enough job of hey, this is the world. This is how we honor it. And I would actually compare myself favorably when it comes to Dungeons & Dragons and Star Trek. I have a passing familiarity. I know enough to get by. I feel like I know the ins and outs, but I'm not a diehard by any means. So I totally get the concern when it comes to Ellison and the potential rebooting of the universe. But I also think you can look back to J.J. Abrams. And he probably wasn't the guy that most people were excited about back then, because he was on record I don't get Star Trek, I get Star Wars, so I'm going to make Star Trek more like Star Wars. I think that rubbed a lot of people the wrong way, but it worked. Like you're saying, he found a way to honor the original timeline and do something new. So that's the credit I would give these creatives here between John Francis Daley and Jonathan Goldstein. I think with Dungeons and Dragons, given the reception to that and how it seems to have held up amongst the fandom, and Game Night's a lot of fun too. I think they are guys that are pretty passionate about the things that they make. So I think it's in good hands from a creative talent, but I can't deny what you're bringing up here. Again, having a passing familiarity with Star Trek, I know it's the philosophy, it's the seriousness, it's the contemplation and the thought experiments that really make Star Trek Star Trek. And are these the guys to do that? Probably not, but maybe they're going to show us a new gear, a new vein that they haven't yet. So, I will be sad to see, the Kelvin timeline and the Chris Pine led films go by the wayside, but it's been 9 years since we had Star Trek Beyond. And if you looked at the last, few Chris Pine vehicles and what Zachary Quinto up to these days, it makes sense that franchise is pretty much dead in the water.
Yeah, the tone matters here too, and I think because I saw Dungeons and Dragons too, I watched it on streaming one day, and it was a lot more of a comedy than I thought it would be. I think it's almost a comedy before it's an action movie, probably. That's fair. and that tone is also in Game Night as well. It's comedy, as well. So
for sure, yeah.
You're talking about guys with comedic backgrounds who've mostly made comedic things, and I think Dungeons and Dragons: Honors Among Thieves works for what it was. I think it wanted to be sort of a schlocky kind of like Friday night watch that kind of almost like, to me, kind of what the Minecraft movie was doing, where it's like it's trying to get those hardcore fans of the thing to come, but it's trying to be funny. It's not taking a super overtly serious tone on Dungeons and Dragons. It's taking more of like a joke tone on Dungeons and Dragons, which I think a lot of fans of that thing probably were fine with. I don't know if you're going to get a similar reaction from Star Trek people in the same way. Like, hey, we're taking your thing and we're kind of playing in the world of your thing, but we're kind of making it almost like a joke about your thing, and then just expecting you to kind of come and laugh because you're almost laughing at this thing almost. It's like that. That's the vibe that I'm getting a little bit from just what we've seen from the team so far. And so, yeah, as someone who, doesn't have a deep background in Star Trek, like definitely not. But at the same time, like I recognize that, man, your Star Trek fans they're pretty specific about the type of thing that they want, in terms of like what they're really trying to get out of the franchise and where they want to see the franchise go. And so I'm projecting ahead, and I'm looking, and I'm seeing a Dungeons and Dragons: Honors Among Thieves version of Star Trek, and it's kind of a new sort of reboot. And I don't see that style landing. So we'll have to wait and see. There's a lot to be said, a lot to happen. I think Star Trek fans want to see this thing come back to the theater. Like, they want to see the franchise revitalized. But there's just so many unknowns right now, from ownership to creative to direction to timelines and canon, and actors who are probably not going to come back, so you got to bring new people in. There's just a ton up in the air, and a lot of chips got to fall down first before you can really see the state of the franchise.
Yeah, 100%. I want to say that I'm a person who really wants like different properties to be able to explore themselves and do things that are very different within their universes and stuff. But yeah, I gotta say you're right on, Jay, when you say like Star Trek fans are not going to take it as easy as Dungeons and Dragons fans. They're going to peel this thing apart. And like 2009 Star Trek was actually really well received, but I felt very similarly to how I felt about The Force Awakens. It's like that was a really good reintroduction to the world, but it didn't feel like it had a lot of meat on its bones. Like, it felt like
J.J. Abrams.
Exactly. Yeah, no, he did them both.
J.J. Abrams.
He's really good at restarting a universe and getting it moving, and casting is great. The tone is wonderful, but like his movies just don't have. Sorry, I'm complaining about the previous universe, not the new one. But his universes just don't have depth to them, in my opinion. And then once Star Trek and once Star Wars were passed off to other people to direct, I loved it a lot more. So anyway, all right, we're gonna take a quick break. We'll be right back with some more feature stories. Welcome back to Multiverse News. All right, well, let's move on to our box office from this weekend. Glenn Powell in The Running Man was a favored first place winner at the box office this weekend, but was ousted by the sleight of hand of Now You See Me, Now You Don't, the third movie in that franchise. Now You See Me racked up a global $75 million opening, while Running Man limped across the finish line with a $28 million. This marks Powell's first big box office miss when compared to openings for Twisters, Top Gun Maverick, and Anybody But You. But the action film did have to compete against Predator's Badlands, which is holding strong at the box office still. Is this a surprising turn of events, or did the franchise monster rear its multiple heads again?
I am shook. I am shooketh. And it's not because The Running Man didn't perform as well as you might think it did, or it would have, but it's actually that Now You See Me, Now You Don't did as well as it did, because I don't know where the fandom and where the excitement and appetite for this thing was, because I thought I said it off cast, but I thought it was going to be the title, Now You Don't, Now You See Me, Now You Don't. I thought it was going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy. And we've talked about the movies a couple of times on this cast, but I almost kind of compare it to Avatar, except for they don't have the financial success behind them. Yeah, you got a few big names and likable stars and whatnot, and it's pretty flashy, but where is the permanence in the culture, in the pulp culture, and the zeitgeist? I just don't see it there, and I'm really surprised they did a third film, and for it to do this well is really blowing my mind. So I didn't see it, but I might be encouraged to go check it out now, just because I haven't looked at like reviews. I don't know how well it's being received critically. But if it's putting up numbers like this, maybe it's worth a watch. I would have to go back and watch the first two, because I saw the first one when it first came out on like home release, and I'll be honest, I'm pretty fuzzy on it now. To pivot to The Running Man, I got to blame the marketing on this one, because I've been on record, like that trailer that they put out, like 4 or 5 months, probably closer to 3 or 4 months ago now. It has continued to be one of my favorite trailers that I've seen in theaters, but it's the only one that I've seen. There has been no marketing for this movie whatsoever. So I don't know if that's because of like early screenings or what, but once the reviews started coming out last week, they were very muted, and I was surprised and I was concerned to see how muted they were. And I as I read the reviews, watched the reviews, all non-spoiler, getting ready to watch it myself, I thought it was a case of like, oh, surely they're just being too harsh on this thing. But I will say, here's your non-spoiler review. I like the movie, and I think around the hour 15 mark, I was in that boat. I was like, what the hell are people talking about? Like, they were way off the mark. This is a great movie. This might be my favorite movie of the year. It goes on, I kid you not, 30 minutes too long. The movie is 30 minutes too long, and there's just no escaping that. It's just like, with that concept, with that conceit, you can only sustain it for so long. And like, had they made different choices and decided to build out the world in a more riveting way, yeah, I could see it. But ultimately, while I really did like this movie, and I do think it's worth watching, and it's got a lot of things going for it, there are a lot of things going against it too, unfortunately, and it is the runtime. It like I said, it's 30 minutes too long. I was ready for it to be over with 30 minutes to go. And also, like, you got to look back at that, 1987 film, and even the book that Stephen King wrote under the pseudonym of Richard Bachman. Like, they are known entities, but I don't think they have the fandom or the fervor attached to them that we might think that they do. And I think the other thing that's kind of working against it is just the concept. Like, when it first came out, it was very novel and actually very prophetic in terms of like where our culture has come and gone, especially when it comes to reality TV. But the reality is, like, in 2025, we've had the Hunger Games, we've had Battle Royale, we've had a lot of concepts that are about, hey, how can we take the most dangerous game ever played and monetize it and make it entertainment and make it out of viewership. And ultimately, that's what The Running Man is doing. So I do think it was a good showcasing for Glenn Powell. He's definitely the reason to go see it. Yeah, I mean, it is a Glenn Powell movie. I think, like, of the 2 hours and 15 minutes that is on screen, you maybe get 5 minutes without him on screen. So Josh Brolin, some of the other side players, I do think they don't have as much to do. But if you're a Glenn Powell fan like myself, I think it's worth seeing. Now, I will say the other thing that's kind of going against it is, in terms of it being an Edgar Wright film, it did not feel like an Edgar Wright film to me at all. Like, you don't feel any of his personality or his flourishes on it. Now, it's not my least favorite Edgar Wright film, but it's definitely not my favorite. And I think his sensibilities as an auteur are sorely missed.
What's your least favorite?
I might get some flack for this, but I'm going to go with The World's End.
Oh, yeah.
The last of the Cornetto trilogy. It was like a body invasion of the body snatchers kind of thing.
Oh, but, yeah. I know it. I think it's probably the least of that trilogy, but I still really enjoy it.
And I think a lot of people would go for like Last Night at Soho or The Running Man, but I did enjoy The Last Night at Soho, even despite some of the shortcomings.
I want to see this movie, but I think I'm probably in the same boat as a lot of people, is that it kind of strikes me as a streaming movie a little bit, and I think a lot of people are going to kind of take that sort of approach to this. Like, we talk about it all the time. Why do you go to the theater? You go to the theater, it costs money, it costs time. Sometimes people's theater experiences aren't always the best. They don't like going to the theater for a lot of reasons. So to go to the theater, a lot of times it does, we've talked about it. It has to kind of be an event. It has to be like a big universe building movie. It has to be some type of like a Wicked type situation or something like that, where it's like it's an event, it's a Barbie, it's an Oppenheimer, it's that type of thing. this is an action movie, right? And it's an action movie that's kind of a dystopia sort of thriller. And I think just when a lot of people see that, I don't think they're necessarily turned off by it or not interested in it. But I think a lot of people are like, okay, do I want to go out to the theater? Do I want to spend, if they're going with another person or something like that, do I want to spend $25 and get concessions and maybe have somebody on their phone the whole time in front of me and maybe have kids talking the whole time or whatever, and deal with that? Or would I rather just wait a couple months because it's not affecting a universe, it's not an event film, it's not a sequel to something. Like, I think that's one of the reasons why Now You See Me kind of takes off, is because it's the third one. People have seen the other two, they have some familiarity with it. And it's just kind of one of those. It's like if you're choosing and you're deciding, all right, I'm going to go see this, and this. It's kind of that one that I think it just gets left off the list for a lot of people, because it is one that you can just see like, well, yeah, I can probably pull this up on, Amazon Prime or Max or whatever in 3 months or something like that and just watch it at home. So I would imagine like when it hits streaming, it'll probably be one of your bigger opening streaming things. Like, people will watch it. But I just, it doesn't strike me. And I think you're dead on with the marketing. But I think it also kind of strikes me as a movie that it's just not going to get a lot of people to come to the theater for it. Again, doesn't mean that people don't want to see it, but I think that they just kind of want to see it on their own terms. It just kind of seems like one of those movies.
Funnily enough, after I listened to this book in July, I do believe I said my one takeaway was that the book is 30 minutes too long as well.
Oh.
So maybe that's a source material issue. And it is. I thought about going to see it on Saturday and Sunday. I just didn't want to. I just didn't. I wanted to rot in my house all weekend, which is what I did, because it's just been that kind of year. And I was like, I love Glenn Powell and I like to support his stuff, but I just couldn't drag my carcass to the movie theater this weekend. And so I was like, I'll see it. And Jay and I were going to cover them with Ashley on Bingers, but since she's got her badassery going on in Portugal, we put that aside. And so I was kind of like, I don't have to go see it. I'm not going to. And it does bum me out to hear that it's not quite hitting the marks maybe that it could, because the book takes place in 2025. And I remember when I started listening to it and it says that, I sat up like, oh, wow, this could really be like something that speaks to a lot of us this year, right? And in a lot of ways, it is very timely. And in a lot of ways, it does talk about the world we live in today. And there are ways in which it doesn't. But I think maybe if the marketing was amiss, they could have leaned in a little bit to that route, because even if they made this last year or 2023, things haven't, changed that much in terms of the state of certain things. And so they could have probably marketed it as a dramatic piece, but that's not what it is. It's an action movie starring Glenn Powell, because he's going to the Tom Cruise School of Movie Making, and that's what he wants to do. And so I think, not knowing, because I haven't seen it, if it's missing some of the dramatic beats, perhaps that could have helped pull people in. I don't know. But yeah, I'll see it. I'll see it, Glenn. I promise. I love you, Glenn.
No, you're dead to him now. Isn't?
No. Glenn doesn't know I exist. But if you want to, you could.
I feel like I was kind of critical on the movie, and I do have my criticisms, but I did want to celebrate Coleman Domingo. Like I said, there's all but 5 minutes that Glenn Powell's not on the screen, but Coleman Domingo does steal the show in the role that he is. So if you're a Coleman Domingo fan as well, you will not be disappointed.
I think I'll like it when I see it. But yeah. I'm worried my hopes for it aren't going to be what I see. So now I can quash my expectations a little bit and just go watch Glenn in a towel.
That's worth the price of admission, just all by itself.
Glenn Powell in a towel, elf on a shelf.
Towel in a towel. Towel without a towel. The true reason.
The one thing I did want to mention about this discrepancy that we're seeing between Now You See Me, I think we didn't expect this at all. It felt very much to me like Running Man was the clear winner. It seemed almost like it was a stretch to bring Now You See Me back from the past, but it actually is strange. They actually did a lot closer domestically. Now You See Me made $22 million domestically, and Running Man made $17 million. So they're really close domestically, but internationally, Running Man only made $11 million, and Now You See Me made $50 million. So like it's a rare case where the international was like way outstripping the domestic box office. And I don't know if that's like, I think that might have to do more with this, what you were talking about with like Now You See Me is a property people know, and it's a sequel to a thing that has been out in the last few years, whereas Running Man's more of a cult classic from America that may not be as internationally known, may not have that same cachet. All right, well, let's get into our next story. It's one of those weeks where TV and movie trailers are hitting, and we're gonna do a semi-lightning round and run through them real quick. Nintendo and Illumination have released the first trailer for Super Mario Galaxy, the follow-up to 2023's hit, the Super Mario Brothers movie. The film will hit theaters on April 3rd, 2026. The trailer reveals some new characters and cast members, including Bowser Jr., who will be voiced by Benny Safdie, and Rosalina, who will be voiced by Brie Larson.
I was going to say, yeah, Scotty. Yeah, this is a lightning round. What am I doing? This is I was like, I thought it was
lightning
a lightning round. It is a lightning round. Yeah, the thing about, the next movie in the Super Mario movie franchise being Galaxy, I remember when we got the announcement, I was surprised. I was like, this feels premature to be doing Galaxy this early on out the gate. But what I was reminded of with this trailer is that these are movies for kids, ultimately. And the video games are made for kids, too. But I have to keep in mind that while Galaxy and the characters that were introduced there were later for me, that's what the kids that are going to theaters now, that's the characters that they know. Those are the characters that have been introduced more recently for them. So I do think, based on this trailer, they're doing a pretty good job of, ultimately, it will be for the kids. It's an Illumination film. That's what it's going to be all about. But I think they know that the reason that, Mario, the first movie did as well as it did is because it wasn't just kids. It was parents that were willing to go back because they had some connection to it as well. So just within this trailer, I saw some homages to the earliest of the video games, but I like the introduction of the character of Bowser Jr. because you saw elements of Super Mario Sunshine, which I referenced when we talked about, this movie being announced in the first place. I thought Super Mario Sunshine was a more likely direction to take it, or I think one of the last things we saw in that first film was like the introduction of Yoshi. So Yoshi's not in this trailer at all, but I have to imagine Yoshi and Yoshis are going to factor in, but to what extent, we don't know. And I do have to give credit to Benny Safdie. He's doing a good Bowser Jr. When I saw that casting, I was like, what the hell? Are you just trying to bounce back from the smashing machine? But he's doing a pretty good Bowser Jr. I'll give it to him.
Amazon Prime has released a new extended trailer for Fallout Season 2. The season begins streaming on December 17th.
Jay, I'll take this one. This trailer was way more detailed than I thought it was going to be. I thought it was just going to be like a quick look, 1 minute sort of, because they've already done the full length sort of, hey, this is coming out here type trailer. But this trailer is really extensive. It went on a lot longer than I thought it was going to go. It showed us a lot of looks at characters. It showed us like the Vegas and the Mr. House character, and it showed us who Macaulay Culkin is, and just kind of like brought in all of these things that we were asking about. And of course, the music's always hilarious. The jokes are always funny. Ella Purnell is so good. Walton Goggins is so good in it. So I'm really excited for this show, and I think this trailer, it was full of like everything you want to see from this show and everything that made it a conversational piece, like the violence that's like just enough over the top to be like kind of funny, the music paired with kind of what's happening in the world, this really just like weird world building that happens in Fallout where things are like really bizarre and weird, but you just kind of have to roll with it. And then I love like the dramatic looks of the characters in the vault, and like we're not steering away from that, like we're sticking with those guys too. We're kind of seeing what's going on with those guys. It's a great show. It's really interesting, and I really am excited about season 2. It just seems like it's really kind of evolving into its next step here. So I thought this was a really, really great trailer.
20th Century Studios has released a very short teaser trailer for The Devil Wears Prada 2. They follow up for the 2006 fashion comedy that starred Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway, who are reprising their roles for the sequel. The film opens on May 1st, 2026.
Haley, how dare you? 1990 was 10 years ago. Dang. This trailer is fun. You get a little inside look at Runway, which is the magazine they work out. You get this little bit of character growth moment from Meryl Streep's character, Miranda, because she lets Anne Hathaway in the elevator with her, and that's a thing in the first episode, or the first movie, that nobody else is allowed to ride in the elevator with her. So I don't know how this movie's going to do. Like, I feel like this one might not have a big box office, even though the first one is, I mean, pretty beloved, I think, by a certain age of a certain group of people. But for me, this would be another one where I'm like, I might catch it, I might not. So I think it's fun that they're doing it, but we'll see.
All right, you want to do a pepper bet with me? A habanero pepper bet?
I don't bet.
Come on, do a pepper bet.
Why? You think this is going to blow it out of the water?
I do. I think it's going to blow it out of the water.
It could. I don't know. The box office makes no sense to me.
That's fair. That is very fair. I've actually never seen the first one, but I just have heard for years. I know. I've heard for years that reaction.
Time for Avengers.
When I say, yeah, sure, I'm down. But I've heard that exact reaction for years when I say I haven't seen it because people love this movie. And the fact that a lot of times when you bring something back, like I think of Freakier Friday, I don't know how that did at the box office, actually. I have no idea. But like
we talked about it was middling, I think.
Not great.
Right. I kind of, that's exactly what I expected, partially because like it just feels like that for whatever reason feels like a cash grab or something. Whereas for whatever reason, having Meryl Streep and Anne Hathaway, who I think have just had very flourishing careers since the first Devil Wears Prada, like it feels like this one will have the same cachet to come back and do it again. A little more cachet, a little more respect on its name. So I think it'll do really well because it's got that built-in audience and, whatever.
I've seen some stills where Anne Hathaway looks like she's like singing on a street, and I'm going to have to not be okay with that if that happens. And that could just be her just doing something on the set. I don't know, but they're like, these are set pics, and she looks like she's trying to do Singing in the Rain, and it bothered me. I don't know. Let's not Ella Enchanted this shit.
She won an Oscar for singing, so she just sings in everything. That's the goal.
Prada make umbrellas.
All right, Apple TV has set Friday, February 27th for the season 2 premiere of Monarch: Legacy of Monsters and has dropped the first trailer. The 10-episode second season will premiere globally on February 27th, with the first episode followed by one episode every Friday until May 1st.
Scotty, my main takeaway from this trailer is I need to go back and watch season 1 because I only got like 1 or 2 episodes in and it was just a case of like too much being on at that time. But just, I mean, looking at the cast, you got Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell, Anna Sawai, just stacked. And then the thing that really did stick out to me about this trailer and kind of encouraged me compared to what I remember about the first season is this one felt very connected to Kong and Kong Skull Island specifically, because I have seen all of the legendary Monsterverse movies here, beginning with Gareth Edwards' 2014 Godzilla there. And, Godzilla -1 is removed from all that. Kong Skull Island has been my favorite of all of those movies ever since it came out. I think it's got the most character. It feels the most unique, and it's just the tightest movie overall. So seeing the connection to Skull Island and the creatures there within, I think this is enough to get me excited, and I'm spending a lot more time on Apple TV these days, so the likelihood of me going back to watch that first season and being caught up in time for the second season gets more and more likely every day.
Disney has released the first trailer for the live-action adaptation of Moana, which hits theaters on July 10th, 2026.
Look, listen, you guys.
I'm getting in on this one after you because I got a rant about this.
You know what? I can't take it.
Okay. This trailer looks as if you took the animated Moana and you put it into ChatGPT and you said, make me a live action version. Like that is what it looks like. And
I had to click on like 3 different thumbnails because I wasn't convinced that the official one was not AI.
They didn't even show The Rock as Maui, who's kind of like, I know Moana's the main character, but he's kind of like main character A. Like if she's A, he's like, AB. Like he's like very adjacent main character. They showed him like jumping off a rock or something. But I was like, that tells me that he like either looks weird or they just like, I don't know. They're
not even done.
Smashing Machine Box Office or something. I don't even know.
That nonsense. And that yell of his, I'm like, that's from the animated movie. They spliced that in. I don't even believe that's a different yell.
I'm taking this rant to the next. I'm taking it to the next level too, because I think this is industry level type stuff. It's like we complain about the box office sometimes in movies and the entertainment industry just being like, we're afraid that it's going to turn into slop, like it's like, oh man, we're going to get to the point where it's just going to be slop. Like it's just AI everything. So now they're making like a shot for shot remake of a movie made 10 years ago. Like 10 years ago is not that, and they just put out Moana 2 last year, and you're going to go shot for shot it in live action. But what's the most depressing thing is it's going to make $1 billion, and there's nothing you can do about it. It'll make $1 billion, even though we're just remaking a movie from 10 years ago, shot for shot, but in live action. I think it's like kind of depressing.
Right. Yeah.
Oh God.
I saw one good meme about it. The chicken, hey. He looks completely different. They're like, why is he a Sith Lord? Because his eyes were yellow.
I wonder if Alan Tudyk is reprising his role as Hey.
I mean, does he have to? They can just reuse the audio. Like, this is the laziest. I just can't.
Yeah, and it is gonna kill. The thing about these 10-year later remakes is the kids who loved this movie when they were like 3 are still at an age where they will go see a live action remake of this. And I think it is actually really smart to make this so soon. Because if you wait too many years, it's kind of like, yeah, I liked it when I was a kid. It's a shot for shot remake. It's before they're exactly jaded. You know what I mean? It's like before they're too jaded to hate a shot for shot remake.
Maybe they will be after they see this.
I think this was a Dwayne Johnson push. Like I think he really pushed to have this happen. And I think like he saw a lot of those live action remakes happening, and he kind of wanted to be on that train. Mm-hmm. And I really think he was the engine beside, because we always ask with these movies, like, who asked for this? Like, I think we know the answer. I think it was Dwayne Johnson asked for this.
The Rock
and that's why it's probably happening as early as it is.
I wonder if, like, I was trying to pay attention to the shot when he jumps off the rock, because I'm wondering if they're going to widen him.
Yeah,
and that might be
Yeah,
he looked a little wider.
In the set photos, he had a muscle suit on, which is funny because like that's his whole thing is that he has muscles. I don't know.
Well, because
I know he's
that's funny.
Now he's like this bizarrely shaped character because it's a cartoon.
Yeah,
like Johnny Bravo style,
Yeah, I'm wondering if they're going to do that. I wonder if they're going to go like really square with him, which might be why they didn't show him, because it will be made fun of.
Yeah, I feel like I have been. Of all of us on the panel, I have probably been the most like lenient when it comes to AI, but this was the first time like I really like legitimately got like scared and concerned, and this has me like recanting certain things I said previously, because it's like it's one thing to use it as a tool, but I strongly suspect, like based on that trailer, I think like Disney will, if it does do $1 billion, which I hope it does not, please don't let that happen. I think it'll be one of those cases where Disney comes out after the fact and they're like, oh, everybody hates AI, but guess what? Guess how much AI we use to make this thing, and use it as a justification, because it really is. We haven't been talking about AI as much lately, but when we started the show in 2023, the strikes they seemed to be centered around AI. And I thought so many of the concessions and the agreements that were made were to be, to put levies against AI, but that does not seem to be the case. So I'm getting increasingly concerned that we may be on the verge of another strike of some kind. But
do we? I get a sense that it actually was AI. Did you sense that it really was AI?
I strongly suspect it was. Yeah, AI has come a long way in like the last few months in terms of
All right. Well, guys, we're gonna take a quick break. Coming up after the break, in the lightning round, we got Sadie Sink will be in Secret Wars, a first look at live-action Legend of Zelda, Poker Face not renewed at Peacock, and Beware of Labubu. I don't know what that means. Plus more. Stay tuned.
Nobody does.
You will.
Welcome back to Multiverse News. We got a Patreon, you guys, and Jay Sisson's going to tell us about it.
If there's one place on the internet that you can go and you can be assured that you will not be hit with any AI-generated content, it is the Multiverse News Patreon and this podcast in general. Could we be replaced with AI? Yes, we could. Will we? Maybe someday. But right now, we're all flesh and blood. And over on patreon.com/multiverse newscast, you can support this little project that we have going with just $4 a month. And until we get replaced by the bots, that's where we'll be. So
That's right.
if you're like, well, what is in it for me? Well, you get to support the show. You get all of this wonderful YouTube live video that's posted afterwards. You get to hear like Matt's dogs barking, me getting up and walking to the bathroom, people coughing when it's sick, when they're sick, all of that stuff.
The show is sick sometimes.
And you get some special polls. There's and every once in a while we do special episodes. So it's worth it. You get to support the show, and we get to shout out a patron every week, and that could be you. So patreon.com/multiverse newscast if you want to join the movement.
That's right. Patreon.com/multiverse newscast. Support our flesh. Support our blood. All right, guys. Our Patreon of the week this week is Hannah Wetton. Thank you, Hannah, for being a patron. We appreciate you. Our Spotify poll for this week was, who do you most want to see show up in the Jimmy Olsen TV show? I included a bunch of people here in the poll. Superman got 16.7%. The Justice Gang got 11.1%. The Flash got 33.3%. The Lanterns without bowl cuts got 11.1%. Same as the Lantern with the bowl cut. That's funny. Checkmate got 7.4%. Creature Commandos got 16.7%, and Suicide Squad got 3.7%. That's very low.
Everyone is Suicide Squadded out.
Yeah.
We've had it.
They all kind of pulled near the bottom, except for the Flash with 33%. What do y'all think? Does that seem to
I think we
jive
made
with what you
excellent
guys think?
cases for it last week.
We did.
We're so influential.
We incepted all of them to answer it that way.
I am just kind of now making note that Checkmate and Suicide Squad are at the bottom, which both feature Peacemaker. So maybe people are saying, we like Peacemaker, but we're ready to move forward within the DCU.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
It's true. Which Suicide Squad, technically a different universe, so maybe they're just like, don't bring that old stuff back or whatever. I don't know.
Is it though?
I think it's interesting that Creature Commandos got so much more than Suicide Squad. To me, that seems wild.
Yeah, I mean, we want to see more Dr. Phosphorus. We want to see more Clayface, and
yeah, Dr. Hey.
I think a lot of people were expecting G.I. Robot to show up in Peacemaker Season 2, and I think James Gunn even said, yeah, that was actually a really good idea. I should have done that. Oh, well.
Yeah, that would have
I already got Sean this
good.
one, but I need Sean in every project, so I'm saving him for another one.
Yeah,
it really would have been a great end to that season if, like, the team showed up for Peacemaker and they just like left him in that universe to like wreak havoc. He's like, I'm happy to go. It would have just like, yeah, it would have been good.
If the DCU becomes the Sean Gunn cinematic universe, I will be okay with it.
All right, well, let's get into our lightning round. We already did one, so you know how this works. People are going to shout out their names and comment on a story, and we're going to move on and do this quick. According to Deadline, Sadie Sink will appear in Avengers Secret Wars following her appearance in Spider-Man Brand New Day.
Jay, I was just going to say, we still don't know who Sadie Sink is playing in Spider-Man Brand New Day, and that's what kind of makes this an interesting conversation, because there's been rumors from anywhere from she's a sidekick of the Punisher to she's this daughter of Peter Parker in another universe to that she's Jean Grey to that she's, it's just everything across the board. So nothing confirmed. There literally no one knows who she's playing. Anytime there's set photos, she's in a huge trench coat, so you can't see, and so we don't know. But I think if she's playing some like minor character, it would be weird for her to show up in Avengers Secret Wars. So it almost makes me think that she's playing somebody with a more significant role, maybe, as we kind of go into that movie. So Secret Wars starts production next summer, and Sadie Sink will know by that point. We'll know after Spider-Man Brand New Day who she's playing, but I think that really makes that an interesting conversation here around that role that she is she's in.
Yeah, I'll chime in with a quick rebuttal to say I kind of would have liked to get this news after Spider-Man Brand New Day at least, because I kind of had the same reaction as you. I'm like, okay, well, this kind of increases the likelihood that she's going to be an integral character to Peter Parker's life. And just again thinking about Brand New Day and how often even if they're taking a title from comics and kind of reimagining it or pulling from multiple sources, I'm kind of steadily I'm thinking she's Mary Jane Watson, and will be the Mary Jane Watson going forward.
I watched a video today of just some internet YouTuber making a case for Tobey Maguire's Spider-Man, his universe being taken out in Secret Wars or Doomsday, like that being like a big moment, is like his being one of the universes that's lost to Doom, and like now I'm like you mentioned her being a possible daughter of Peter Parker from another universe. What if he's Tobey's daughter and she's like one of the inciting incidents for his character is the universe going away and she's like getting lost with it? That'd be real intense. But that would mean Tobey would have to be in Brand New Day as well, which would be weird. Tobey's just in all Spider-Man movies now. Hideo Kojima's groundbreaking video game franchise Death Stranding is set to expand with an all-new animated series that's heading to Disney+. The show, which is titled Death Stranding Isolations, is expected to debut sometime in 2027.
Scotty, I love Death Stranding. I've only played the first game. I've got the second game currently sitting on my shelf, just waiting to be played. I just haven't got around to it quite yet. But I had to go back and double check because I was like, I know there's a film from A24 on the way. And I know we talked about another animated series. I was like, is this the same one and we're just getting an update? No. There are 3 Death Stranding adaptations currently in the works, including a live action film and 2 animated series. So, it does feel a little bit like putting the cart before the horse, but the world that Hideo Kojima has created and a lot of the characters within. I mean, we've got, why is his name escaping
Norman
me?
Reedus,
thank you. Yeah, Norman Reedus, Margaret Qualley, Leah Seydoux, like so many great character actors in the proceedings here that it actually kind of feels like a film or a TV show a lot of the times when you're watching these cutscenes. But it is a very, very cool world. It's kind of it's pretty dense and kind of hard to wrap your head around. But I think, by doing this 3-pronged or 4-pronged approach, really, when you consider the video games, I think it is a world that if you make it palatable enough for people and approachable enough, it could really grab a hold of people and spin out into something pretty huge. And I'd like to see it because, like I said, it's a great game, great world.
Peacock has decided to not renew Poker Face for a 3rd season. Natasha Lyonne exits as star, but series creator Ryan Johnson has begun an effort to shop the show to other broadcasters for a 2-season commitment and has cast Peter Dinklage to take over the role of Charlie Cale from Natasha Lyonne.
Haley, I started binging Poker Face earlier this year. I haven't gotten through season 2, so I don't know if it ends in a way that this makes sense, or if this was just a talent decision that they were, Tasha Lyonne was done with the character. I don't know. Matt, I know you've watched Poker Face. I don't know if you finished it.
I haven't seen it.
Oh, I thought you watched it.
No, I don't think so.
Sometimes I think I have conversations with you that never happen or something because, this happens too frequently. Okay, well, you would like it. I think it's kind of a fun, but I can't really speak to if this makes sense because I haven't seen the whole show yet. But it's fun. I like it.
This story in our document makes me want to watch it because 2 things. I didn't know Ryan Johnson was a creator on it. That's exciting in general because I love Ryan Johnson stuff. And any show where trading out Natasha Lyonne for Peter Dinklage is just like, let's do that. That makes that show sound really interesting to me. I have no idea what this show's about. I don't know what's going on, but that sounds fun.
It's timey-wimey, but not in like a time travel way. But I think you would like it. Okay,
so he's a Time Lord who's going to regenerate into Peter Dinklage.
You know what?
She's a Time Lord.
Haven't seen it, so maybe.
Sony Pictures has picked up the rights to the Chinese doll brand Labubu with the intent to launch a franchise based on the dolls in the near future.
Haley, this is the most, and I do mean the most, cursed thing of 2025 in this entertainment sphere that we've talked about.
We
The
died in 2020 and we're in hell. Like, that is what's happening here. That's
And these
that's why
little
there's a
dolls are the
Labubu
little
movie.
demons that are killing us.
I don't
It's
know.
like
There's
the Furby. It's like the Furby. Like, you know how we had Furbies
No,
and
it's
like now I understand what my parents, whenever they were like, I'm not buying you that stupid thing. Like, now I understand. Like, when I see the kids wanting to buy Labubus. But yeah, no, of course they're going to make a franchise of it and milk it for every dollar it's worth, because we live in America and that's what happens to everything.
I don't know if it's the most cursed trend. It's like there's like 6 or 7 different trends that are like really
Pretty
cursed this
bad.
year.
It's pretty bad. This takes the magic 8-ball thing and just like chucks it towards the mirror and is like, ha! Beat that.
Who's the best director for a Labubu movie? Now that's the good conversation. Like, who would make you want to see it if they were the director?
Bong Joon-ho.
Greta Gerwig.
Greta Gerwig's the go-to for sure for all these properties.
Horrifying, all of it.
I feel like Edgar Wright could probably have a good take. Oh man.
Tarantino's final film, Labubu.
Oh my god, you know what? Let's see it.
Sony Pictures has picked up. Oh, so just did that one.
No, we're done with Labubu.
See, it's the
Get it
darkest
out of here.
timeline.
Get it
This
out.
is what's happening.
That's how they get you.
Now we're stuck in a loop of Labubu.
Sucked me right back in. Something about reading the time travel Peter Dinklage, Natasha Lyonne story, and the Labubu has us trapped in a time loop. Nintendo's live-action Legend of Zelda movie has begun production, and Nintendo's social media accounts posted first-look images earlier this week of Link and Zelda, the film's main characters. The film is currently set to release in May of 2027.
Scotty, I'm going to reserve judgment, and I won't be too harsh on these images because they are just first-look images. But at first blush, I was a little disappointed just because of how clean everything looked. I like my Hyrule to be a little more lived in, a little more gritty. But what I am able to extrapolate, and it's not surprising, again, because, talking about the Super Mario movies and how those are pulling from the more recent films, it makes a lot of sense that they're going to pull more from Breath of the Wild and Tears of the Kingdom. You can see it in like Link's garb instead of the classic green that he's wearing. It's a little closer to that kind of like aquamarine blue. But it looks good. I really liked Wes Ball's previous effort with Kingdom of the Planet of the Apes. So I'm going to give this one the benefit of the doubt. I still kind of feel like they may have been better served going the animated route. But let's see what a trailer looks like. I do like the fact that they did cast unknowns because there's no like cognitive dissonance or when looking at these characters. I think the people are inhabiting the roles, and I can place these archetypical characters onto them pretty easily.
Timothy Chalamet as Link.
No. I like Timmy, but no.
Peacock has renewed Twisted Metal for a 3rd season, with David Reed taking over as showrunner and executive producer following Michael Jonathan Smith's exit. Reed has previously been a producer on a series like Supernatural and The Boys.
So he's one of Kripke's.
Yes, indeed.
I haven't seen the first 2 seasons.
I haven't either. I have not watched this series at all, not even an episode. But I keep hearing good things, and so eventually I will, and I like that it's being renewed, and someone from the world of Supernatural and The Boys sounds like a good fit for a show like that. So, I definitely need to check it out, because it seems like people are liking it.
We like to see Anthony Mackie getting work on this podcast. So.
Absolutely. And I loved Twisted Metal as a kid. I don't know why. It just doesn't... I think it's just I haven't taken the leap from, like, this makes sense as a narrative. Twisted Metal is just cars smashing into each other and firing weapons, which I loved. All right, well that's our show for tonight. Let's go around and tell people where they can find us online, what we got going on. Haley Hobbs, what you got going on?
Like I said earlier, Brian and I are reading Secret Wars comics. We actually finished up this week, probably for the year. With that, reading some just god-awful comics. But we I can't even say we had fun, but you know what? We read them, so go check that out. We're going to do some novel stuff coming up, and then when Ash gets back from her trip, we'll be back on Unqualified Opinions, but we've still got Outlander coming out, so check it out.
Sweet. And Jay Sisson.
Commute the podcast weekly on Mondays, and then I also dropped by Reed Murphy's show last week, the 323 with Reed Murphy. It's a sports show, so we talked a lot about sports. So if that's your thing, and you've never gone over and shown Reed a little bit of love and subscribed to his podcast and rated it and everything like that, please do that. He's been a guest on our show several times. So go check out that episode.
Absolutely. And J. Scotty St. Clair.
Yeah, look forward to some coverage of Apple TV's Pluribus on Always Watching. We're getting a little crew together to make that happen. We're a little late to the game, and we don't know exactly what that coverage is going to look like.
It's going on right now, right? Isn't it? They didn't release it at once, right?
No. Yeah, it's a week by week, but the first 3 episodes are already out, so I don't know if we'll group them in episodes of 3 or just kind of be late getting to the game. But yeah, excited to cover that show. I'm a big fan of Vince Gilligan. Rhea Seehorn, and just 3 episodes in, it's a very, very strong concept and very well done.
Yeah. Haley, are you watching it?
No, I was just confused. That's all.
Oh yeah, no, we just talked about it last night, so it's been really good so far. So I'm excited for that. Always Watching. Check that out, and check out the Marvel Cinematic Universe podcast. We got a lot going on over there, and we'll be back very soon. Peace.
You stay classy, Multiverse.
Hey, thanks for listening to Multiverse News, or watching it, or whatever you're doing, eyeballs or ear holes, whichever thing. We do this show every week, and we appreciate you listening. StrandedPanda.com is where you can find all of our podcasts, and thank you for listening. Check us out wherever you get podcasts. Hit that subscribe button, hit that like button, hit the little bell icon, whatever you have on whatever service you're doing. Rate us, like us. We're really thirsty. That's what I'm saying.